of the Foreign Relations Committee, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. He's author of the new book, The Violence Inside Us, a brief history of an ongoing American tragedy.
Senator, thank you so much for being with us. I just got to ask you what your thoughts are about the president yesterday in a press conference and then again last night, comparing the shooting of a black man by police 7 times in the back to a golfer choking on a 3-foot putt. First of all, it's extraordinarily offensive, I am sure, to the family of the black man shot in the back 7 times, as well as to other people of color across America. Also, I would guess this one also manages to deeply offend police unions and the rank and file in police, suggesting that life or death decisions are as easy as sinking a 3-foot putt.
I mean, listen, you saw the contrast in this campaign. Yesterday, the president of the United States unwilling to condemn violence, no matter who commits it, and Joe Biden standing up and condemning the use of violence, whether it's by supporters of the president or by folks that are out there protesting the president. I thought Joe Biden was also very effective in reminding people that violent crime came down by remarkable levels during the Obama-Biden presidency. And what we've seen over the course of this year is a dramatic spike in violence. What I think is important also is that, as you mentioned, voters tend to like to rally around their leaders during moments of crisis. But what Americans know is that this crisis, these twin crises, are caused by the president, right? We shouldn't still have epidemic levels of coronavirus in this country. It should have been gone by now. And he is, in fact, stoking the violence. He is creating more chances for people to get hurt, like those in Kenosha. And so people don't give the president credit for addressing the crisis because they know that he, in fact, is the cause of the crisis.
And again, I want to get to your book, but also he sounded like he was a member of the Klan riding around in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when he talked about trying to keep poor housing, low-income Americans out of suburbs because, and this is the Klan part, because of the women. He talked about, basically said, we can't trust that our white women will be protected, is in effect his entire suggestion. Again, so retrograde. And Donald Trump is so oblivious to the realities of 2020 that he actually thinks by saying that he's going to pick up votes in the suburbs among suburban women. And all he's really doing is just making them run away from his candidacy even more.
Right. Listen, America has this long history of vigilante justice. And I tell that story in this book, which is really a history of American violence in many ways. But we aren't the America of the 1920s. While there are still people who want to think of themselves as vigilantes, increasingly that vision of America makes more and more people uncomfortable, in particular swing voters. And so what the president is trying to do by refusing to condemn this young man in Wisconsin is to kind of give a wink and a nod to others who are thinking about doing the same things, right? He's trying to send a message of encouragement to other young men who might bring an AR-15 to another protest so that he can get more violence, more unrest, more chaos, which he thinks is going to help him politically. I think he's fundamentally wrong about that. But what he is right about is that America has this long history of white people taking taking sort of law and order into their own hands at the expense of communities of color.
All right, let's go to Casey Hunt. She's got a question for you. Casey?
Senator, good morning. It's good to see you. Let's talk a little bit more about your book, because this obviously what we've been seeing on the streets of Wisconsin, what happened with this 17-year-old boy is part of a larger story that has different threads and, you know, in many ways was focused with the tragedy that was in your home state of Newtown. So can you walk us through, you know, what we learn in the context of your book and what you learned pulling it together?
Sure. I mean, this book is really the result of the last 7 years of my life. My life was changed in 2012, and over the course of the last 7 years, I've tried to learn everything I can about why America is such a violent place and what we do about it. And this book, it's not a memoir. It's really a story about how we got to this moment. And, it's called The Violence Inside Us because the conclusion I come to is that America is a violent place. We have always been a violent place. We've been bathed in violence from the time that the American settlers exterminated Native American tribes. But what we have chosen to do is to pour kerosene on a smoldering fire in this nation by allowing these very dangerous weapons to flow throughout the nation, creating more opportunities for ordinary arguments to turn into deadly moments. And so if you want to understand why we've gotten to a place today in which there is so much violence in this nation, whether it be homicides, civil unrest, suicides, this book will tell you why we got here. But it also gives a prescription for a path forward. And it does start with just decreasing the number of weapons that are in the hands of wrong people and making sure that 17-year-old kids can't so easily get their hands on a deadly weapon like an AR-15 to bring to a protest rally in a different state.
The new book is The Violence Inside Us, a brief history of an ongoing American tragedy. Senator Chris Murphy, thank you very, very much for being on this morning.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the book.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.